Once upon a time, there was a pretty church with warm and friendly people. Not too long before, the church had been filled with the sounds of children, but they grew up and moved on, and the warm and friendly church waited for new ones to take their place. They waited and waited. And then the church hired a special person named Birgit. Then, slowly but surely, they began to arrive. Some had different talents, different gifts, and different appetites. Some cool movie stars even showed up. They started to make beautiful music together. Then they told us stories about God. As they continued to grow, they were confirmed. Some left for college, but came home to celebrate with us. And then parents joined the little church and invited their friends. And the friendly little church began to grow. The friendly little church got busier and busier, holding Valentine's tea, celebrating Clara's birthday, singing Christmas carols, telling the community more about us. Going on retreat, walking to help others, letting our light shine, washing cars and anyone we could catch, making great friends, recognizing special people. Then we began to notice that we had a problem. Like at Christmas, we didn't have enough room in the inn. We had a hard time squeezing all the children in. And still, they kept coming. Reverend Johnson really had his hands full. So we started to think really hard. We prayed. Reverend Johnson consulted his long-lost brother. We even consulted the tribal matriarch of the Thunderbolt on top of Blue Hill. As we prayed and talked and presented ideas, we kept coming back to one thought. We felt led by God to build an addition. And as we continued to talk and pray, a new vision grabbed hold of us. We started making plans. And more plans. An emissary made several visits to the neighbors. And now we can all look forward to a return to the happy neighborhood. Several key people took on impossible loads. But they would be the first to say that it took everybody. Only one big question remained. How are we going to pay for this? So we decided to have a capital campaign and ask for everyone's help with a special message from the young people. New and seasoned leaders. Working together, getting to know each other better. Some were concerned that the children were taking over the church.
In the end, our great leadership team made the campaign a big success.
Then we put the vision into action and broke ground.
What a workout! Would we get anything done without Anne working behind the scenes? Now we have playgrounds. New grass and new trees. A new fence for Reverend Johnson. People love the classrooms. And the Great Hall. Reverend Johnson got the new bathroom he was promised. All in all, the center school is a great success.
Thanks also to Lynn, our new director.
The children continue to arrive,
And grow.
Now, we face the dawning of a new day of faith and service to the community. The friendly church is no longer little. It is growing and developing with no end in sight. Praise be to God who has clearly guided us and carried us through. May the doors we have sought to open pour forth with new light and love. Amen.